Здравствуйте. Hello and welcome to Russian language class. Before moving on, let's have a quick recap of the topics that we have learnt in the previous lesson. If you remember, we have learnt about the declension of nouns and personal pronouns in the genitive case, and we only did the declension of singular nouns in the previous lesson. So, let us revise them again. У вас будет время. У вас будет время. Will you have time? If you answer this question in affirmative, да, у меня будет время. Yes, I will have time. So, this was when we use the nominative case. But what if we answer this question in negative? So, in negative sentence, we have to use the genitive case form of the noun. So, время will change to времени. Нет, у меня не будет времени. Нет, у меня не будет времени. No, I will not have time. So, время, which is a neuter gender noun, changes to времени. У кого есть красная сумка? У кого есть красная сумка? Who has got a red bag? У Нины. Nina has got a red bag. So, Nina has become Nini. So, A has been replaced with I. So, this was about the declension of singular nouns in the genitive case. So, if a masculine noun ends with a hard consonant, then we use A. So, we add A at the end to get its genitive case form. If the masculine noun ends with a soft consonant, then we replace the soft sign with Ya. If a feminine noun ends with A, then we replace A with either E or I, depending on what is the last consonant at the end of the stem. So, if the stem ends with one of those 7 consonants, k, g, kh, ch, sh, sh and j, then we use E, and other than these 7 consonants we use I. If the feminine noun ends with a soft vowel which is ya, then ya is replaced with e, and if the noun ends with a soft consonant or a soft sign, then soft sign is replaced with e. About the neuter gender nouns, when the neuter gender noun ends with o, which is a hard vowel, then o is replaced with a, and if the neuter gender noun ends with ye, which is a soft vowel, then ye is replaced with ya. So, this was about the declension of singular nouns in the genitive case. We also discussed some words and some expressions about health. For example, how will you answer this question? Как вы себя чувствуете? How do you feel? Or how are you feeling? Как вы себя чувствуете? Я себя чувствую хорошо, I am feeling good. Or нормально, I am feeling okay. Or отлично, I am feeling excellent. Or плохо, I am feeling bad. Or you can say I am feeling better, which is лучше. Я себя чувствую лучше. So, this was about the topics that we had learnt in the previous lesson. Now, we will start the lesson with the new topics. The first topic for today's lesson is the declension of possessive pronouns in the genitive case. How possessive pronouns decline in the genitive case. For this purpose, I have written a few questions and answers where we have used the possessive pronouns in the genitive case. So, let us start with the first question. Чей это словарь? Чей это словарь? Чей это словарь? Словарь is masculine, that is why we have used чей. Чей is whose. Whose is this dictionary? Это словарь моего друга. Это словарь моего друга. This is my friend's dictionary. So, here you can see мой has changed to моего. So, the nominative case form of мой changes to моего in the genitive case. So, masculine form мой changes to моего. Это словарь Maivo Turuga. This is my friend's dictionary. Next question. Chia eta kniga. Chia eta kniga. Whose is this book? Whose is this book? Eta kniga mojej sestry. Eta kniga mojej sestry. So sestra is feminine. That is why we have used mojej. Mojej has come from maya. So nominative maya changes to mojej in the genitive case. Eta kniga mojej sestry. Next question. Chia eta mašina. Chia eta mašina. Whose is this car? Это машина нашего преподавателя. Это машина нашего преподавателя. This is our teacher's car. So here as you can see, наш has become нашего. Наш becomes нашего in the genitive case. Next question. Чье письмо вы читаете? Чье письмо вы читаете? Whose letter are you reading? So here, how will you answer? Я читаю письмо вашего соседа. Вашего соседа. Sosed is neighbor. I am reading your neighbor's letter. I am reading your neighbor's letter. So here vash has become vasheva. Moi has become maivo in masculine, mayei in feminine. Similarly, nash has become nasheva with masculine and vash has become vasheva in masculine. The next question, chi eta photography. Chi eta photography. Whose are these photographs? Это фотографии нашей преподавательницы. Это фотографии нашей преподавательницы. These are our teacher's photographs. So as you can see here, Nasha has become Nashi. So these are the forms of possessive pronouns in the genitive case. So let's revise them once again. Moi becomes maivo, tvoi, tvaivo, nash, nasheva, vash, vasheva. So we are talking about masculine forms. What about feminine? Maya becomes mayei, tvaya, tvayei, nasha, nashei, vasha, vashei. Ivo, io and ich, they don't change their forms in the genitive case. So this was about the declension of possessive pronouns in the genitive case. I hope you must have understood the declension. So now we will move on to the next topic. We will now look at the declension of demonstrative and determinative pronouns in the genitive case. So what happens when demonstrative and determinative pronouns are used in the genitive case? So again we will look at the changes through their use in the sentences. For example, I have written some questions here. Чи песни вам нравятся? Чи песни вам нравятся? Whose songs do you like? So here as you can see, nravятся denotes the noun in plural. That is why песни. Чи песни вам нравятся? How will you answer this question? Мне нравятся песни этого или того композитора. See, этого comes from the demonstrative pronoun этот and того comes from the demonstrative pronoun that or тот. So этот is this and тот is that. So I like the songs of this or that composer. Compositor is composer, the one who composes music. Мне нравятся песни этого или того композитора. So as you can see, compositor is a masculine noun. That is why этот has become этого and тот has become того. Next question. Чей роман вам нравится? Чей роман вам нравится? Here Raman is singular, that is why Nravitsa has been used. Nravitsa represents the singular nouns or singular subject. Чей роман вам нравится? Мне нравится роман этой или той писательницы. Мне нравится роман этой той писательницы. Этой comes from the demonstrative pronoun эта, and toi comes from the demonstrative pronoun ta, which are feminine forms of the demonstrative pronouns etat and tot. I like the novel of this or that female author. Pisachil is a male author and Pisachilnitsa a female author. So, this is how we change or decline the demonstrative and determinative pronouns in the genitive case. I have drawn a table here. These are the masculine forms in the nominative case. Etat, tot and ves. Ves is a determinative pronoun, which means whole. Etat becomes etava, tot, tavo and ves, sivo. So, these are the masculine forms in the genitive case if they are used with the masculine nouns. The second row represents the feminine gender forms eta, ta, sya. So, what happens when they are used in the genitive case with the feminine nouns? Etai, toi and syai. So, etai corresponds to eta, toi, ta and syai, sya. The next row is the neuter gender. Eta, to, syo. So, when they are used with neuter gender nouns, eta becomes etava, to becomes tavo and syo, sivo. So, these are the forms of demonstrative and determinative pronouns in the genitive case. I hope you must have understood the declension of the demonstrative and determinative pronouns in the genitive case. So, we will now look at some other topics, and one more thing you have to remember that we are now talking about only singular number of demonstrative pronouns and determinative pronouns. Next topic we have is a very interesting topic. You must have heard about Russian names. They sound different. So, let us first look at some of the Russian names and how they are pronounced, and then we will discuss about them. Ivan Ivanovich Ivanov, Ivan Ivanovich Ivanov, Alexandr Alexandrovich Andreev, Alexandr Alexandrovich Andreev, Pavel Alexandrovich Kapitanov, Pavel Alexandrovich Kapitanov, Maria Petrovna Ivanova, Maria Petrovna Ivanova, Tatiana Viktorovna Kalinova, Tatiana Viktorovna Kalinova, Tatiana Viktorovna Kalinova, Ludmila Dmitrievna Kalinina, Ludmila Dmitrievna Kalinina. So, as you can see, each Russian name consists of three components. The first one is here, Ivan, Alexander, Pavel, Maria, Tatiana, Ludmila. The second component is somewhere in middle, Ivanovich, Alexandrovich, Petrovna, Viktorovna, Dmitrievna, and the last one, which is the third one, Ivanov, Andreev, Kapitanov, Ivanova, Klinova, Kalinina. So, A typical Russian name consists of three parts. The first one is imya, imya or the first name or the given name, and the second one is called otchestva. Otchestva is patronymic, patronymic that is derived from your father's name, and familia, familia is the surname. So, the first one is the given name or the first name, the second one is derived from your father's name, and the third component is your surname. So, as you can see, each Russian name consists of three parts. So, now we will discuss about each of those parts separately. We have already seen that there are three components in a Russian name: imya, which is a given name, otchestva, which is a patronymic, and familia, which is the surname. So, we will now look at each one of them separately. Imya, which is a given name or the first name, are mostly Christian names in Russian. But apart from the Christian names or biblical characters, there are certain Slavic names also which are present only in the Slavic languages. For example, the names, the first names such as Vera, Lubov, Vladimir, these first names are found only in the Russian names. Otchestva, otchestva, as we have already discussed, is derived from the father's name. For example, if father's name is Ivan, then the son will take Ivanovich as his otchestva or the patronymic, and his daughter will take Ivanovna as patronymic. So, Ivan has two forms as patronymic: Ivanovich for masculine and Ivanovna for feminine. As you can also observe that Ivan, by adding some suffixes, we get the patronymic from a first name. For example, Ivan Ivanovich. So, here you can see that Ovich we have added to Ivan to get the patronymic, and Ovna to get the patronymic for feminine gender. So, we can now conclude that by adding suffixes, specific suffixes to the first name, we derive otchestva. So, now the question comes, I have written here 3 suffixes here and 4 here. These 3 suffixes are used to derive the masculine patronymic, whereas these 4 suffixes are added to get the feminine patronymic. So, now we will see where do we add ovich, where do we add yevich, and where do we add each to get the masculine patronymic, and where do we add ovna, yevna, inichna or ichna to get the feminine patronymic. We have already discussed that patronymic are formed by adding specific suffixes to the first name, and that is how we derive the patronymic. So, while discussing about the suffixes, I have told you that we add ovich, ovna, yevich, yevna to get the patronymic. Ovich is added to the first name to get the masculine patronymic, and ovna to get the feminine patronymic. So, let us look at the example. Ivan, if we add ovich, it becomes Ivanovich. Ivanovich is a masculine patronymic, and if we add the suffix ovna, it becomes Ivanovna, which is used as a feminine patronymic. This ovich and ovna, they are added to the first name if it ends with a hard consonant. So, ovich and ovna can be used after the first name which ends with a hard consonant to get the patronymic. The next set of suffixes are yevich and yevna. For example, Nikolai. Nikolai, if we add the suffix yevit, we get Nikolaevit. And if we add the suffix yevna, we get Nikolaevna. As you can see, Nikolai ends with e kratke. So, if a first name ends with e kratke, then we add the suffixes yevich and yevna to get the patronymic. And one more thing to remember here is that while making the patronymic, you have to drop the ending which is e kratke. So, now it must be clear to you that if a first name ends with a hard consonant, then we use ovich and ovna suffixes, and if the first name ends with e kratke, then we add yevich and yevna. So, now we will look at some other suffixes. Next set of suffixes used to form patronymic are each, inichna. Each to make the masculine patronymic and inichna to make the feminine patronymic. For example, Ilya. Ilya plus each becomes Ilich. It is a masculine patronymic. Ilya plus inichna, Ilinichna. That is a feminine patronymic. As you can already see that Ilya ends with ya. So, whenever a first name ends with ya, then we use these suffixes to form their patronymic. So, Ilya, Ilich, Ilya, Ilinichna. The next set of suffixes are each and ichna. So, where do we use these suffixes? If a first name ends with a, for example, Nikita. Nikita ends with a. So, in this case, we will use this set of suffixes Nikita plus each, Nikitich. Nikitich is a masculine patronymic, and Nikita plus ichna, Nikitichna. Nikitichna is the feminine patronymic. So, these were the suffixes that are used to form the patronymic from the first name. So, now the third component, which is familia. Familia is surname. So, how do we form surnames from the first name? So, like the patronymic, these are also derived from the first name by adding various suffixes. Some of the suffixes which are added to get the surname are of, yef, yof, in, ich, ich. So, these are few suffixes which are used to get the masculine surname, and ova, yeva, yova, ina, ich and ich. These are the suffixes which are added to a first name to get the feminine surname. So, this was about the components of Russian names. So, let me tell you one thing, that first name is used to address familiar persons, and first name along with the patronymic is used to address someone in a formal context to show politeness and respect. In addition to these names, there are some nicknames too in Russian. So, we will now look at some of the nicknames. In Russian, like any other languages, there are some nicknames also which are used and which are the diminutive forms from the first name. So, there are first names and nicknames are derived from the first names. I have written here the diminutive forms or the nicknames first and then their corresponding first name. Vanya. Vanya corresponds to the first name Ivan. Masha. Masha, Maria. Vova or Volodya, these are the nicknames for Vladimir. So, if the first name is Vladimir, you can address that person in informal context as Vova or Volodya. Lyuda, Lyuda corresponds to the first name Ludmila. Ludmila is a feminine name. Sasha, Sasha corresponds to the masculine name Alexandr or Alexander, that is how we call it in English. Katya, Katya corresponds to the first name Ekaterina, and Katya is a feminine name. So, Vanya Ivan, Masha Maria, Vova Volodya Vladimir, Lyuda Ludmila, Sasha Alexandr, Katya Ekaterina, Dima Dmitri. So, Dima corresponds to the first name Dmitri. Misha Mikhail, Misha Mikhail. Natasha Natalia, Natasha Natalia. Tanya Tatiana. So, if the first name is Tatiana, then the nickname would be Tanya. Kolya corresponds to the first name Nikolai. So, these are few of the nicknames that are used in Russian language to address someone in informal context or the familiar situations. So, this is all we have for today's lesson. So, what all we have learned today? We have learned the possessive pronouns, demonstrative pronouns and determinative pronouns in the genitive case. How do they decline in the genitive case? And apart from that, we discussed about Russian names, their components and the nicknames derived from the first names. So, that is all for today. We will meet in the next class. Till then, Spasiba, до свидания.